So if you look in the upper right-hand corner, third line down, far right, it says al haaretz, so like over the land or upon the land. So I mean, this is just the text, the Hebrew text. But what they're doing is they're skipping. Now, it looks really convincing, right? Because, wow, what are the odds that the Passover 5778, which I suspect is, I mean, I don't know Jewish years as well as maybe I should, but I suspect it's probably somewhat recent, or the name Rayel actually appears there in the text, or Le'er Yah, Yah being the shortened form of Yahweh. What are the odds? And see how they're crossing over in the left-hand corner. What are the odds that these things happen? Well, go to the next slide, if you would, please. This is a screenshot. When you get there, this is a screenshot. Dave? I didn't freeze, did I?
No. There you go.
There we go.
Okay. We see it.
This is a screenshot that I took this morning. And it looks really fuzzy to me, but hopefully to the viewers it's not. There in the center, in Hebrew, says J. Bowen, or Josh Bowen, HaMashiach is the Messiah. All right, so welcome everybody.
Hold on 1 minute. You mean we have the Messiah on this show? Why didn't you tell us ahead of time? We would have made the place a little bit more. We would have cleaned. We would have had food.
Now,
am I going to hell, Josh?
Well, I'll let you know afterwards. But no. If you look in the center, crossing it is Yahweh, the Tetragrammaton, the name of God in the Old Testament. Upper left-hand corner is the word godlike. You have Jerusalem, Shamayim for heavens. You have the first and the last on the right. You have eternal. These are all bona fide words that appear in this section of the Hebrew Bible. Now, that seems really amazing, right? Doesn't it? I mean, this would be really convincing, and I should probably start my own cult now. Actually, after I did this one, I found Steve McRae is Yahweh. So
don't tell him that.
I just don't have followers. I have worshipers now. Thank you. Oh.
You have your own cult, Dr. Bowen. Digital Hammurabi. There is your new cult right there. It's already got a name. It's packaged nicely.
And I would imagine that we could find Digital Hammurabi in the text. See, here's the thing. What happens is what this program does is you tell it skip a certain number of letters, right? Now you can be very specific and you can say skip every third letter. Or in my case, I said skip from 5 to 11,773. Anything in between, skip.
I've heard of that.
And find. And that's what you do. Now, that allows you to find your centerpiece, right? Of course, the thing I was searching for is J. Bowen HaMashiach, right? That's what I wanted to find. And I found it actually very, very quickly. And in several different places, as a matter of fact. Then there's a button, and again, it's blurry to me, but maybe you guys can see it. There's a button there that says Find Words. And if you click on that, it allows you to essentially scroll through and find all the different words that appear in that section of the matrix. So all those words, it'll show you which ones are there. And you can
it sounds like it's an algorithm of some sort. I mean, because I was reading up on
NonSequitur. Find us NonSequitur.
Oh, that would be awesome. I was reading the equidistant letter sequencing that they use, but what I don't understand is if you're looking for a specific sequence of some kind, or looking algorithmically for something, because I don't call this a code. This I do think is a cipher, but whatever. But how I mean, literally, because they don't use, technically it is, but because they don't have vowels, and because there's just letters that we've translated into what we would think would be the English or anglicized version of that word, you really can find anything you want by any search parameter just about, couldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, so there are certain words that are fixed, right? So HaMashiach that's how you say the Messiah. J. Bowen is Yod, Beit, Vav Vav Nun. That's how they would write it in a modern transliteration, and that's what I found. But again, it's in no way surprising. You're exactly right. What their the Hebrew text originally, and of course in modern Hebrew today, is primarily just consonantal. Right? It's consonantal text.
Yeah, right.
They use Matrix Nun as Michael was talking about earlier, as these mothers of reading, these consonants that are used as vowels to elucidate the writing. But the point is, you can buy this program. It's called Keys to the Bible. Anybody can get it. And maybe Dr. Benguigui will get some business out of this. But it's HebrewWorld.com is where I got mine. You can get it on Amazon. I think he's actually the one that ships it from there. But again, it's $60 and you can run this program yourself. And so, Michael, I'm not a developer. I'm like, I don't know how it works.
That's fine.
But
that's all right.
But you could get it and look at it, I'm sure, because you seem extraordinarily clever, and figure out exactly how it's doing this. But that's what I mean. If you find your baseline word, which you can, and this is the other interesting thing about it, you search the entire Old Testament, right? From Genesis 1:1 to the end of Chronicles, which is how it's laid out. And then once you find it in there, then all you do is restrict your search to where you found it. And it looks like, oh my gosh, he just searched from Genesis 3:1 to Genesis 5:4, and in that short little span found that. But in reality, you're searching everything under the sun to just find that sequence, and then you just mirror it and narrow it down, so that it's like a trillion to one shot, right?
Very true.
So I considered that when I got that, I consider that for me sufficiently debunked, and I can make a video about how I did it if anybody's interested in that. I can record that. It's actually pretty simple to do. But
just thought I'd throw a cherry.
Hopefully, anybody that's watching from Lord Rayel's congregation right now, hopefully this, because this is one of the two linchpins. Right? This is one of the two things that are prophecy, and Michael's already talked about how the prophecy about the asteroid fell through, and really it only takes one. Right? You have one prophecy that fails. That's a huge problem. But then the other is the Torah codes. And, I think there's sufficient evidence here that it's problematic, to say the least. So anyway.
I did forget to mention one thing. Well, before I mention that one thing, I'd just like to throw a cherry on top of the Torah codes. Apparently Richard Ruff, who is the main leader of that congregation, he's Moses apparently. In the past life, and
Richard Ruff sounds more like a porn star than it does an Old Testament figure.
This guy was like ex-military, worked in encryption and decryption in the military. That's what he did, right?
Yep.
And now he's Moses.
Apparently was. Yep.
Apparently.
And apparently, somehow Raymond, I think, before he became this entity that he thinks that he is, was on the Oprah show somehow, and they snapped a picture of him. And so they decided to make a Torah code on Oprah, and apparently she's a reincarnated version of John the Baptist.
I gotta ask the
what?
I gotta ask.
They have that. They have that. I have the page.
What? Oprah is John the Baptist.
I can't lie about this. They have it on their website. I was like, okay. Richard Ruff is Moses. Oprah Winfrey is John the Baptist.
Well, that settles it. Okay. God is okay with sex change. God is okay with sex change.
Wait, am I the only guy here? This is producer Dave. Am I the only guy here that finds an issue with a cryptographer looking for codes in the Torah?
That's why I brought it up. I mean, that's
kind of like A Beautiful Mind gone wrong. Like that old movie, A Beautiful Mind.
That's the least thing that we need to worry about. Like that, in and of itself would be a problem.
Being John the Baptist
think that Oprah is John the Baptist? When you think Oprah is John the Baptist,
nobody's asking the elephant in the room, and I don't understand why. The question has to be asked: are these people actually insane, or they're just con artists, or both?
They're con artists, and here's how.
Okay, because that's what I really want to know. Because there's a huge difference there.
So let's talk about the God coin.
Oh, there we go.
Yes.
Oh yes, please let's talk about God coin.
I showed this to Steve this afternoon. The dramatic commercial that they have.
If any of you,
I was like, no.
The God coin.
So, a fiat God coin. Explain this to us, please.
So there's a video, man. And I about fainted, which was bad because I was driving when I heard it. Because I was going through Michael Scoggins' playlist, and who's one of the clergy members, and he says, the Lord Rayel has very graciously extended an offer to you to essentially trade in your worth U.S. dollars and pounds and whatever else that you might have, for which are going to go out of use as soon as Lord Rayel establishes his kingdom, which is coming. It's imminent, right? All that money is going to be completely useless. So that you can get the God coin, right? Which is a coin. It's money with Lord Rayel's face on it at a discounted rate. You can trade in your worthless paper dollars, right?
Yeah, so
which
he's so benevolent.
You're getting ready to be worth nothing at a discounted rate. Act now. I mean, it really felt like an infomercial of sorts.
Can we give up on humanity? All that needed was Billy Mays coming back. Like, can he resurrect Billy Mays to be in that commercial? Call now and you'll get another one free.
Boy.
I thought
a second God coin for absolutely free.
At first too, I thought it was crypto coins. People were talking about crypto coins. This is not cryptocurrency. This is actually a gold coin, but it's fiat gold coin, which I don't understand because usually a gold coin is worth the value of the metal, right? That's why they have gold coins. What does it mean to have a gold coin that's worth more than the value of the metal? I don't understand how that works unless it's a total scam.
Well, here's how they're. There's a lot of levels of deception here. There's even an Anunnaki tie-in. I'll tell you about it. But basically, gold on demand. It's gold on demand. That's how they got God, G-O-D. So gold on demand is what they call it.
Stop it!
Wow.
That's
brilliant. No, that's actually pretty good. That's brilliant. I got to give props for that one. Gold on demand.
They go pretty deep on this. Now, here's the Anunnaki tie-in. The Anunnaki tie-in is this. So apparently, their planet, their atmosphere, they basically went into the Sumerian research side of this. Probably looked at some Zechariah Sitchin's books. Basically, one of the Anunnaki planets were dying, and their atmosphere was deteriorating, and they needed to reseed that atmosphere somehow with some kind of base metal. They found out that gold was the best metal to use, but they could not extract it out of the mines themselves. So they needed to create a new living species to do it for them. These ETs are so advanced, why couldn't they create machines to do this? But basically, they created us to do it. I guess they wanted to test their limits and not use machines.
That's a brilliant tie-in. I have to give them credit. That's pretty.
That's the tie-in. They're like, hey, Anunnakis, they created the human race to mine gold.
Right.
And I've come back. Where's my gold?
Didn't they put us with another different species, or something similar to Neanderthals? That's who they combined to make us. We are that a byproduct of that, Dr. Bolin.
Yeah, they used. Stop saying this like it's historical fact. I mean, they used Anunnaki DNA. Enki used some of his own DNA.
Well, there's DNA. There's a mosaic that has DNA sculpted from Sumeria. Everyone knows that. It's the little plant thing. It's DNA. It's not a plant. It's DNA.
Yeah, I mean, I'll buy that for a God coin.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
That's going to be our official currency. Should be the God coin.
So apparently you get enough of that digital currency, and eventually when the kingdom is established, they'll trade you those digital versions for the real gold. That's
kind of like selling like back. I don't know if they still have them, but they used to be able to get treasury bonds, right? And you would buy a treasury bond, and then the government would 20 years later give you like for every $10 you spent, they give you like 30 cents, right? So you invest like $5,000, you get $1.50 after 10 years. It was a really low yield, but that sounds like what it kind of is.